This is just a short video about apertures. I just had an email from somebody I was teaching a couple of weeks ago, and the email just said, why can't I select 1.4 on my lens? A lot of people are buying large aperture lenses, but most people have got zoom lenses that came with the camera. I've got my Samsung here. This is the camera I use for all the videos, by the way. I will do a short video on this, but a typical zoom lens, basic lens that comes with the camera. There's nothing wrong with these lenses. Everyone eBays them. Just keep hold of them. They're usually pretty good. It's just the way that you're using them. So this sort of lens, just to give you an idea, will say 3.5 to 5.6 on it. So usually you'll find there's a number 1, a couple of dots, then 3.5 to 5.6. And across the Canon range, Nikon, with the standard zoom lenses, you're going to see that figure a lot. So if you've got your camera, well, whichever lens you've got really, just flip your camera around, look at the front of the lens. Sometimes it's on the side, different manufacturers, different things. Have a look. And what the 3.5 means is when this lens is wide angle, so it's zoomed wide. With this one it's a power zoom, so when it's a wide angle lens, it means that its maximum aperture is 3.5. So obviously then you've got a little dash and it says 5.6. So when the lens is fully zoomed out, its maximum available aperture will be 5.6. This is something I've found literally every one-to-one session I do seems to be this question, and people then look online, they see prime lenses and they wonder why they can't do 1.4, 1.8 f2. So you've been given a lens that hasn't got a very large aperture. With old SLR cameras, when we used to shoot film, the typical SLR would come with a 1.8 lens, and that would be a 50mm 1.8. So the largest aperture we could use 1.8. So I just thought I'd just answer that question. Hope that makes sense. I know it's all numbers photography. I'm hoping to do more sessions. Been very busy for the past, well, year or so. So I'm coming back to do a few more now. And that seems to be a question every time I do a one-to-one session. Another thing we want to look at is why I don't use variable aperture lenses generally. Now, with video and this little camera has been absolutely brilliant, and I've used variable aperture lenses, but I tend to work at 5.6. So I think of them as 5.6 lenses from wide angle all the way through to telephoto, and therefore I just set 5.6 and I'm fine. As you know, I use the 70 to 200 f4 and I use the 24 to 105 f4. I use constant aperture lenses for weddings because it saves thinking for a start. It's another decision I don't have to make, and I've found that if you stop an f4 lens down to 5.6, it becomes very sharp towards the edges. Now 2.8 lenses, you tend to have to stop down to f4 stroke 5.6 just to make them sharp anyway. You know, comment below. I know you were going to mention the Sigmas and how amazing they are wide open, which a lot of people tell me they are. So, you know, but this is just a lesson for people that, well, more than people that are starting out, is if you're going to go for a lens, I suggest you do go for a standard lens. Bit of a whirlwind then. I thought that dust was coming straight in through the window. So I suggest you do go for a standard lens, and I suggest you do go for a standard telephoto lens. A typical setup for a crop sensor might be an 18 to 55 and a 55 to 250 if you're in Canon. And then once you've got used to that and you're enjoying using it, you could, I'll be quite honest, I could use that for weddings, quite happily use it professionally, no problem at all. But if you want to go up in your lens, you're going up in your lenses, you then will find that you get fixed aperture. When I say fixed aperture, I mean they're not variable aperture lenses. They're f4 all the way through the zoom range. So a typical 70 to 200 would be 70mm f4 and you can use f4 at 200mm as well. As you'll find with the cheaper lenses, they might start off at f4 with the zoom lens, and you end up maybe at 6.3 or f8 on some of the cheaper lenses. So something to look at. The first thing I teach people when we go around the camera shops is to look at the front of the lens with the package. So when you're going to look around these cameras, beware, because Canon, I don't mean Canon in general, but all of them, Olympus, everybody tend to ship variable aperture lenses, and you know, it's just something to be aware of. Know which lens you're going to get with the camera body and you'll be much better off. So that's just a quick tip. Okay, thanks a lot.